You're listening to Life, the Universe, and Everything Else. Today on the show, the return of the Quiz Show. Life, the Universe, and Everything Else explores the intersection of science and society. If you have questions or comments about the show, or you'd like to suggest a topic, you can find us on Twitter or Facebook, or send us an email at lueepodcast@winnipegskeptics.com. Show notes and references can be found at lueepodcast.com. Today, we are going to do a revisit of our favorite format of testing each other's knowledge on various weird subjects that we have no business knowing very much about. We also have a special guest. So my name is Ashlyn Noble, and I'll be your host today. Today we have Jem Newman.
Hello.
Laura Creek Newman.
Hi there.
Lauren Bailey.
Hello.
And Dave Bonwick.
Hello.
He's just here to answer questions. He didn't bother to make his own quiz. Unlike Jem, I don't have a lot of preamble to these episodes, so we're going to kick things off with Jem's quiz, which is full of preamble. Beginnings and endings.
So this is a quiz about the beginning of the world and the end of the world. We're going to start with beginnings.
Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start.
Religious historians Mircea Eliade and Charles Long devised a system of classification that sorts creation myths into 5 basic types. Which of the following is not one of those types? A. The divine sower. B. The earth diver. C. The splitting and ordering of a unity. Or D. Creation by dismemberment.
Ooh.
I have randomly selected who will go first, and it is Ashlyn.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. I can picture a creation myth that fits each of those categories except for Earth Diver. So I choose Earth Diver to be the one that is not one of the categories.
Okay, we're going to go to Dave.
I will also go with Earth Diver.
Laura.
I'm going to go with the last one that you said.
Creation by dismemberment.
Yes.
And Lauren.
I've heard of all of these.
This is why I had to pick 2 very specific historians of religion.
I could name a creation myth for each of these. Okay, we'll go with C. We'll split the pot.
I feel like C and D are almost too similar because the one is splitting and the other is dismemberment. All right.
Nobody gets a point because the answer was A, the divine sower.
Really?
I was wondering about that one, but then I'm like, that kind of sounds like the Christianity myth. Like, out of nothing, there was something. I don't know.
The divine sower, that is the one that I made up in air quotes. The Christian myth could be classified in one of 2 different ways, which I'll get into in a second. But first, Eliade and Long's 5 basic types of creation myth are creation ex nihilo, so creation from nothing, earth diver creation. This is a form of creation whereby an animal dives through a primordial ocean to retrieve matter and brings it back up to form landmass that will become the world. Emergence of the present world through a series of metamorphoses. Creation of the world by dismemberment of a primordial being. You see this especially in Germanic myths. And finally, creation by the splitting or ordering of a primordial unity. Which category would the Old Testament creation myth fall into, do you folks think? Because I have my opinion. I didn't just look this up.
Yeah, like it's almost a splitting because like first there was the earth and then there was land and water and then there was light out of darkness.
Yeah, splitting and ordering.
Yeah, that's correct. That's my interpretation as well, which obviously means it's correct. While some modern religious philosophers especially try to argue that we have creation ex nihilo in Genesis, it actually does seem to be that last category in which God creates order from chaos. And I'll quote here from Genesis. "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." So we don't actually have nothingness. We have a primordial chaos.
Yeah, but theoretically, he
ordered.
created that out of nothing. He created the heaven and the earth, not there was a heaven and an earth, and then God came along.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So it's sort of the ordering, but then later on, it's once you get into the creation of living beings, it's a more of a dismemberment thing.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I hadn't considered creation of humans by dismemberment, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, creation of half of the species, anyway.
Adam's bloody rib.
So, no points on that round. Let's go to question 2. Which of the following stories is part of the Sumerian creation myth? A. On, Ki, and the Desert. B. The Burrowing of Deep Roots. C. The Cairn of Enlil. Or D. The Debate Between Sheep and Grain. We're going to start with Dave.
This is which one is part of this myth?
Which of the following stories is part of the creation myth?
Okay, the last one.
Okay, so Dave goes with D. The Debate Between Sheep and Grain. Laura?
I'm going to go with deep roots.
Lauren?
C for me.
The Cairn of Enlil. Okay. Ashlyn?
I also like the Deep Roots one, but these are all just a guess. How are we supposed to know? There's nothing to go on here.
Some of these are just guessing games, right?
I don't think anybody's gone with A, so I'm going to go with A.
So do we have an even split then?
Yep.
Nice.
We do. And Dave takes it.
Nice.
It
That
is
would have
the
been my
debate
next
between
choice.
sheep and grain.
That's awesome.
For what it's worth, the sheep and the grain aren't the ones doing the debating.
Aw.
Oh.
But
Well,
the story concerns an argument between Lehar, the goddess of livestock, and Ashnan, the goddess of grain. I made up the other ones, though, of course, An, Ki, and Enlil are all real Sumerian deities. Real in the sense that, well, they really exist because the ancient Sumerian religion turned out to be the right one. Sorry, Zarathustra. So that's 1 point for Dave, so Dave is in the lead.
Woo! Damn it.
Question 3. The primal couple Rangi, the Sky Father, and Papa, the Earth Mother, figure prominently in the creation myth of which people? A. The Maori of New Zealand. B. The Aleuts of Kamchatka Krai. C. The Kets of Central Siberia. Or D. The Mapuche people of Chile. We're going to start with Laura.
I don't know. When you read the first one, I'm like, yep, that sounds right. And then you read the next one, I'm like, I'm just going to go with A because I have no idea.
Okay, so Laura goes with the Maori. Lauren.
Maori.
Ashlyn.
I also think A.
Dave.
The Chilean.
And we're all tied up. It is indeed the Maori of New Zealand.
This one I knew.
Nice.
Question 4. Which religious tradition holds that the first thing to emerge from the lifeless waters of chaos was a pyramidal mound called the Benben? Was it A. the Baha'i faith, B. Zoroastrianism, C. the Mayan religious tradition, or D. the ancient Egyptian religions?
All of the ones with pyramids.
We're going to start with Lauren.
I know it's not right, but... Okay, let's go Zoroastrianism. If I could pronounce it right.
Okay. Lauren goes with B. Zoroastrianism. Ashlyn.
I'm going to go with the Baha'i faith.
Ashlyn goes with A. Dave.
I'm going to go with Zoroastrians as well.
Okay. And Laura.
I'm going to go with Baha'i as well.
We're still all tied up at 1. As it is ancient Egypt.
Really? I thought that was like a throwaway.
It was super obvious. That's why I picked it.
It was so obvious that it's like, no, it can't
Well, I
possibly
just feel
be.
like
It's so hard to game gems.
we
No,
learned
I
so much
know.
about Egyptian gods and stuff that I figured I would have heard that if it was in there.
But you know,
Not the very ancient ones.
true, like I don't know how ancient this is. And also we spend a lot of time learning about their afterlife and not so much about their creation.
yeah, but like I went
Yes.
through a whole Egyptology phase.
Oh yeah?
I was really into it, yeah. That's how I first realized that I was an atheist.
Oh yeah?
Pretty sure I've told it on the show before, but I was thinking about how all of the Egyptians were like so terrified of their gods and what would happen if they did something wrong, and yet nobody's followed that religion for like 1,000 years. Nothing bad has happened. And then I was like, I wonder if the same thing is true now.
We'll now move on to question 5, which is the final question in beginnings.
I feel like you should have had some middles questions.
Let's not make this any longer than it has to be. Question 5. The traditions of the Kuba people of Central Africa tell that the world was created by the giant Mbombo. According to this story, A. Mbombo crushed a scorpion and used its carapace to fashion the world. B. Mbombo felt a pain in his stomach, then vomited forth the sun, moon, and stars. C. Mbombo dreamed the universe into being as he slept. Or D. Mbombo stumbled and fell, and the imprint left by his body formed all of the hills and valleys of the world. And we're starting with Ashlyn.
I would first like to say that you should narrate audiobooks. Secondly, the vomiting one.
Okay. B. Pain in his stomach, then vomiting. Dave.
I'm pretty sure I've heard the scorpion carapace thing, although it's unlikely to be this one, but I'm going to go with it anyways.
Dave goes with A. Laura.
I really like the imprint in the hills and valleys. I really like that, but I also really like the dreamed into being. That's so meta. I love it. It's great. I don't know if either of them are right. I have no idea, but I'm going to go with the hills and valleys. So D.
Laura goes with D. And Lauren.
Celestial tummy ache.
Ashlyn and Lauren are correct. Ashlyn and
Yay.
Lauren are correct.
Vomiting.
It was the vomiting. Mbombo felt a pain in his stomach, then vomited forth the celestial bodies. I made up the other ones, although dreaming the universe into being as he slept is actually not an uncommon creation myth, particularly with panentheism. I was trying to come up with a last option, and the giant stumbling and like sort of sliding and making the world that way I thought was pretty good, so I'm glad you liked it. So let's move on to endings, shall we? This is where things get dark. Question 1. As reported in both James Randi's The Mask of Nostradamus and Gregory Ash's Encyclopedia of Prophecy, a prediction that an apocalyptic flood would begin in London on the 1st of February 1524 led 20,000 Londoners to flee the city. Who made this prediction? Was it A, a group of English astrologers? B, Pope Clement VII? C, a coalition of herbalists and natural healers? Or D, Michel de Nostradame, better known today as Nostradamus? We're going to start with Dave.
I'm going to go with Nostradamus.
Laura.
I'm also going to go with Nostradamus.
Lauren.
My head says Nostradamus, but my heart says let's go with the Pope.
And Ashlyn.
Okay, so there's the Pope, Nostradamus, the astrologers, and the last one was...
The herbalists.
I want to go with Nostradamus, but it seems too obvious. Nostradamus.
It was too obvious.
Yay!
It was, of course, A, the astrologers.
Damn.
Nostradamus would have been only 21 at the time, and by his own account, he was spending his days studying herbalism. That's where I got the herbalists. His prophetic quatrains would not be published for another 30 years. As for Pope Clement VII, although he did not predict the apocalypse in 1524, he was a noteworthy figure. Sometimes called the Unfortunate Pope, his papacy saw both the Protestant and Anglican Reformations and one of the many sacks of Rome, in this case by the mutinous troops of Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. Holy Roman Empire, of course, being neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. Pope Clement VII was also a fashion icon. As a sign of mourning during his captivity following the 1527 sack of Rome, he grew a full beard, in defiance, actually, of canon law. According to Wikipedia, 24 subsequent popes followed suit, although I did not spend the necessary time to vet this particular factoid, so take it with a grain of salt. Clement also personally approved Copernicus' theory that the Earth revolves around the sun, just shy of a century after Galileo was tried for heresy for advancing pretty much the same idea. Better late than never, I guess. Question 2. What is eschatological verification? Is it A, the process of demonstrating that a prophecy has biblical support? B, the idea that religious propositions can be verified after death? C, the contention that verifying one element of a prediction increases the likelihood that the rest of the prophecy is true? Or D, the claim that faith-based propositions are not subject to empirical examination, but can only be evaluated on the basis of their internal consistency? Eschatological verification. We're going to start with Laura.
I think I'm going to go with C. That seems like something that people would be apt to do.
Okay, so that is the contention that verifying part of a prediction means that the whole thing is more likely.
Sure.
Lauren.
C.
Okay. Ashlyn. Nope. Ashlyn, yes. Ashlyn.
A.
In the process of demonstrating that there's biblical support for a prophecy.
Yeah. Are you sure it's not like examining intestines to see whether a prophecy?
The eschatological verification. And Dave.
D.
Well, good try, everybody. The winner is me this round. It is B, the idea that religious propositions can be verified after death. Specifically, the idea that the existence of an afterlife is, in principle, verifiable. English theologian John Hick presented the parable of a theist and an atheist who are walking the same road. The theist claimed that the road would come to an end and they would arrive at their destination, while the atheist believed that the road was endless. The claim of the theist is verifiable, sort of, because if the road dead ends at John Hick's celestial city, then the theist will be proven right, while there is no way to demonstrate that the atheist is right. According to Hick, claims of the afterlife are verifiable in principle because they could still be verified once you're dead. And God presumably hits the big button on his desk that opens the trapdoor and drops you right into hell. However, it's important to note that such a claim is only verifiable when it turns out to be true, which makes eschatological verification not particularly useful. This principle can actually be generalized to many claims that are of interest to skeptics. The claim that Bigfoot exists, for example, is in principle verifiable only if it's true, because there's no way to conclusively prove that it is false. Before we move on to question 3 of endings, we have a total of 10 questions, so we're nearing the end.
We're not doing so well.
Take stock of the score. I believe Ashlyn and Lauren are in the lead with 2 points.
Still have a chance.
Exactly. It's anybody's game.
And everybody else has 1. Okay, question 3. The Book of Revelation, also called the Apocalypse of John, is the final book of the canonical Christian Bible, as it stands. I'm not going to wiggle. It's the final book of the Bible. It tells that God's right hand holds a scroll that is sealed with 7 seals. The breaking of the first 4 seals summons 4 creatures riding horses that are white, red, black, and pale in turn. These beings are typically called the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Which of the following is not one of the Four Horsemen? Is it A, war, B, famine, C, darkness, or D, conquest? We're going to start with Lauren.
You jerk.
It all shall be revealed to us, Ashlyn. I also had that look on my face.
No, I'm pretty sure I know.
Darkness.
Lauren goes with C, darkness. Ashlyn.
I also go with darkness.
Dave.
Oh, I got 2 people going with darkness. I don't like it. Conquest.
And Laura.
I'm going to go with darkness because Lauren seems certain.
It is indeed C, darkness.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren.
I was a little unsure about conquest.
I was too.
The 4 horsemen are conquest, war, famine, and death. Mm-hmm. You'll notice that pestilence is not among them. While the first horseman is most commonly called pestilence, especially these days, or very occasionally referred to either as Christ or the Antichrist, this interpretation of the first horseman as pestilence doesn't appear until the early 20th century, and there's actually no textual support for it. I am going to quote here from Revelation chapter 6, verses 1 through 8. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering, and to conquer. And when he had opened the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So, as you can see, the first horseman is conquest, and there's no reference at all to pestilence. The only reference to pestilence comes at the very end when talking about death, in which case death is given the ability to kill with a sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Now, hunger is sometimes written as famine, and sometimes we have pestilence added into that list. But there's actually no reference to pestilence nearby or referring to the first horseman.
Translations are weird.
Yeah, so I'm using the KJV just because, it sounds all nice, but it is obviously not a good translation and should not be used if you care about the accuracy of such things, but it's the Bible, So, second last question. So, Lauren and Ashlyn are tied for 3 points. Laura is at 2 points and Dave is at 1 point. It started out so promising.
I know, right?
Question 4. According to the Frashokareti doctrine of Zoroastrianism, in the final renovation of the universe, good will prevail over evil, and all will be in perfect unity with Ahura Mazda. But first, A. Zarathustra must defeat 3 bears, each the incarnation of one of the 3 mortal sins. B. The living and the resurrected dead must wade through a river of molten metal. C. A heron will taste the flesh of every man to discern the worthy from the damned. Or D. On the path to salvation, the righteous must cross a bridge of knives. Starting with Ashlyn.
These are all very messed up. I choose bears.
Dave.
I'm going to go with knives.
Okay. D. Knives. Bridge of knives. Laura.
I'm also going knives.
And Lauren.
So we're going to go with bears.
Ooh, bears.
Well, I'm afraid it was B. The living and the resurrected dead must wade through a river of molten metal.
Oh, I thought that one sounded the fakest.
Yep.
I know. Well, yeah.
Yeah, the rest of them I made up. Although, obviously, they're flavored with the mythology of all sorts of religious traditions that I've been reading. So let's move on to the final question. Question 5. Our sun is classified as a G-type main sequence star.
Huxley?
But over the course of its life cycle, it will swell to become a red giant, swallowing the planets of the inner solar system as it grows. According to scientific estimates, approximately how long will it be until the Earth is swallowed by the sun? Now, these estimates vary, but they're within an order of magnitude of correct.
10 years.
Is it A, 10 million years? B, 400 million years? C, 5 billion years? Or D, 70 billion years? We're going to start with Dave.
5 billion years.
Okay, Dave goes with C, 5 billion. Laura.
An option was 40 million?
400 million.
400 million. Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, B, 400 million. Lauren.
B.
B, 400 million. And Ashlyn.
I would also like B.
400 million. Dave is correct. It is actually C, about 5 billion years. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, dodging extinction-level supervolcanoes and asteroid impacts for that long would be so statistically unlikely as to be basically impossible. And if we do manage it, we only have a few 100 million years until the increasing brightness of the sun as it expands makes life as we know it impossible. Far, far before it actually engulfs the Earth.
So we were actually right when we chose C.
That is closer to the time that life would be uninhabitable due to the expansion of the sun. But honestly, I'd be pretty surprised if we didn't wipe ourselves out in the next couple hundred years, to be honest.
Our descendants will watch the Earth explode eventually from spaceships and be sad about it.
The whole concept of having a generation ship is actually a really interesting one, and one that I wanted to... I've been toying around with a novel for quite a while on this theme, but the idea of designing a fully self-contained, balanced ecosystem that also happens to be on a spaceship is an incredibly difficult problem and an incredibly dangerous proposition, because homeostasis is a lot harder when you're on that small of a scale, right? There was actually a fascinating article. I believe it was written, I think it might have been in Boing Boing. I believe it was written by Kim Stanley Robinson, which I can link to in the show notes, about that subject. It's a really great read. And basically his argument is, I write about this sort of thing, but we should not think of that as an escape hatch because it is so difficult as to be basically impossible, especially within the next couple hundred years at our level of technology. So, yeah, let's try to keep the Earth around. So Dave got 1 more point. So I believe we are Ashlyn and Lauren at 3 points, and Dave and Laura at 2 points.
Sweet.
Yay!
Does that comport to people's memories?
Yep.
Sure.
Scattershot keeping track here.
Now, Lauren has some riddles for us.
I'm rereading Tolkien at the moment, and I had really, really, really wanted to make a quiz about the Silmarillion, but I'm pretty sure that only Jem would have anything like a best guess.
You're better than that.
So I thought about The Hobbit, and I decided to ask you all a bunch of riddles. As I was putting this together earlier, I asked Ashlyn and Dave, how should we do this? Like, have everybody write their answers down or whatever? And then I realized that it's probably going to be difficult for everyone to get it on their own, so it's a collaborative answering game.
Ooh, that's fun.
I'll
Get
give
to
you
work together.
I'll give you a minute to give the answer together, and if you get it, you all win. And if you don't, I do.
Okay, cool.
Oh, this is going to be fun to score.
Well, it's really very simple.
Yeah, so we'll all get some equal number of points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However
But-
many you're
yeah.
correct, we get that. Each of us gets that.
So,
Great.
yeah, hopefully we can beat Lauren.
All right.
I prefer collaborative games. Riddle the first. What flies when it's born, lies when it's alive, and runs when it's dead? 1 minute. Go.
I think of like water running when it's like when an ice cube is melted or something.
Yeah, rainwater runoff.
It flies when it's born, so yeah, it's flying through the air.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't quite fit though. You're
See,
gonna
the
have a
first
lot
two
of
parts of it, I'm thinking like a
silence cut
seed or something like that. I'm thinking of like a pollen or something like that
Yeah.
flies through the air. It lies in the ground, like it stays stable, but the running part
Runs
at
when
the
it's
end.
dead,
Yeah, because like nothing describes like living water like flowing water, right?
Is it mascara?
How does it fly?
I don't know.
Jim is now blinking at us.
I'm fluttering my eyelashes seductively. If you
Doesn't
don't
work.
mind.
Great radio there, Newman.
What's our timer at?
We'll say a minute.
Wind?
A running wind?
One of these things.
Yeah, I know.
Read it one last time, please.
What flies when it's born, lies when it's alive, and runs when it's dead? Okay, I'm calling it.
Okay.
It's a snowflake. You guys were so close.
Okay.
Explain to me how it runs. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had even said ice cube at one point.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm
I
like, you're gonna
started
get there.
thinking snow, like when like you guys went to rain and that like moved me off. I was thinking snow, but then I couldn't put the last part of it together. Nice, nice.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one.
The second question. A one-seated fruit may I be, but your calendars are full of me.
Days.
Dates.
Yeah, we'll go
hobbits.
dates.
You got it, you hobbits. A brick weighs 10 pounds, plus half its own weight. How much does it weigh?
1 brick.
15 pounds?
As much as a brick? Yeah, 15 pounds makes sense, but that doesn't make sense because it's cyclical, right? Because if it's 10 pounds plus half its own weight, like
So this is an algebra problem. It is 10 pounds plus half its own weight. So 10 plus x over 2 equals x. So 10 plus x over 2 equals x.
I'm really
So
glad
half
this is collaborative
x.
right now.
5 seconds.
Wait, what?
No, I'm glad that you're doing the work for us. Keep doing it.
Final answer.
We were supposed to get a minute.
You did.
15.
20.
Yeah, I know. It's half x equals 10,
Yeah.
but I couldn't, like, with the pressure, I couldn't rearrange the friggin' algebra. Yeah. It's obviously 20. God damn it.
So we're at me 2 and all y'all's 1. Number 4. What 5-letter word stays the same when you take away the first, third, and last letter?
what 5-letter word stays the same when you take away the first, third, and last letter?
That is correct.
I feel like I've heard this one, and I still can't bring it to mind.
30 seconds.
Trying to think of 2-letter words, even. Just like 2B.
Thinking no, but
So it has to be 5 letters to start.
There's a minute. Final answer?
No idea.
The word is empty. You get rid of
Yeah.
the
I knew it was going to be
the
something
P
like
and
that.
the Y. Number 5. I start off dry, but come out wet. I go in light and come out heavy. What am I?
towel.
No.
Laundry.
No. Both good guesses.
Start off wet and come out dry.
Start off dry and come out wet. Laundry can go in either, wet or dry, depending on your toddlers. Jem doesn't like this quiz very much.
Riddles always seem slightly more arbitrary than everything else in the world.
Wet and heavy. What's wet and heavy, guys?
Radiation.
Water.
Rocks are heavy whether they're wet or dry.
Some rock is fairly porous, I guess.
What about like grapes becoming wine or something? Some sort of agricultural
It's
product.
wet, dry wordplay.
Because grapes are dry-ish, and then they come out liquid and heavy.
Good idea, but no. And I'm just going to...
Like oats? Oatmeal?
Hmm?
I don't know.
Teabag.
Yeah, okay.
We need
All
a
right.
tea in front of us, as usual.
I wouldn't have got it anyway.
But I also like the answer of laundry, and I feel we should get a point.
You can have half a point. What has 1 head, 1 foot, and 4 legs?
I feel like this is going to be something like a ruler
table.
or something.
That
Yes.
could work, but that is not the answer that I
No,
had.
that's a
In a
good one,
bed.
though. A table, yeah.
What's that, Dave?
In a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bad.
Nice.
Okay, so that's a point for us.
That's a point for you.
Yay!
How many are we at? Are we just at 2?
Two?
2.5?
2.5 for you guys. What has keys but no locks, space but no room, and you can enter and escape but not exit?
Keyboard.
Damn you. Well done.
Did you say no locks?
What has keys but no locks?
It has plenty of locks.
I
It
know.
has a caps lock. It has a num lock. It has a scroll lock if it's,
This is true. I didn't look at that part. I did add the escape one to it.
Bad riddle.
No, I like that. No, that's good. No, it's a good riddle. It's a good riddle.
Because we got a point. Good riddle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. 3.5 out of 6 ain't bad.
That's a really bad meatloaf takeoff.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next?
Number 8. Can you write cow using exactly 13 letters?
No.
C. Let's start with a QU. Gives us 2.
I don't think it's going to be that complicated.
Holstein isn't that long. Cow. Ranch.
13-letter words for cow.
Stockyard.
No. Exactly 13 letters doesn't have an O.
We're going with no.
Well, you can.
I was going under the assumption that exactly 13 letters was the set of letters that we had to use to write cow.
SEEODOUBLEYOU. COW.
Oh,
SEEODOUBLEYOU.
blah.
Terrible.
Number 9. What do you see once in a year, twice in a week, but only twice in forever?
E.
Are you reading these?
No.
No, I knew that one.
Yeah, that one's an easy one.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Number 10. I have 5 and take away 2, yet I am left with 4. How? Guess this one in a second, Bonwick.
Again?
I have 5 and I take away 2, yet I am left with 4. How?
We're talking about pairs of something?
For some reason, I'm feeling like how is important here.
No.
You're participating in a Reddit subthread.
Why? Do you think you got it, Ashlyn, or you?
Does it have to do with Roman numerals in some horrible way? Yeah.
You're so close.
Someone else put this into words because I can't.
Start with V, which is 5. Take away 2.
2, which is I, typically.
Yeah. Which gives us 4.
That doesn't give us
No.
4. That
Okay,
gives us 3.
You've overcomplicated it. You take away the F and the E off of 5, which leaves you with the Roman numeral IV for 4.
Oh, God. You made a riddle and a pun at the same time? Oh, God.
Just for you, Laura.
Oh, Lauren.
I'm almost done.
Oh, I know.
Number 11. What
Wait, how
word?
many of these are there?
I know.
There are 12.
Okay.
Number 11. What word does not belong in the following list? Stop, prop, crop, shop, drop, or flop. Would you like those again?
Yep.
Stop, prop, crop, shop, drop, or flop. Are you Googling it, Ashlyn?
No, I'm just writing them down. Stop, prop, crop, shop, drop, flop.
I feel like it would have to be shop just because of the lack of diphthong, but I don't. That's not
I
a
feel
riddle.
I was thinking it was shop partly because the verb doesn't match the type of other verbs.
I will say them again. Stop, prop, crop, shop, drop, or flop?
Or
Well done. And finally, to tie this back around to the Hobbit, what do I have in my pockets?
you have no pockets because you're a lady.
Pockets?
Ring?
Nothing.
Ashlyn was right, but the phrasing was a little off. I am not a lady,
Because
but
you're the, yeah.
I'm wearing pants marketed to women, and these pockets are useless.
So what did we score? Was anyone keeping score? I was trying to for the first part, and then I lost track.
Yeah, so did I. I think you guys got like 4.5. Well, the last
No,
one.
we did better. We were at 3.5, and then we got like 3 in a row. We did awesome, and we won. There.
Okay, so you guys got 6.5 because I gave you half a point for something.
So we won.
Yeah, so we got 6.5. I feel like we don't really deserve that half. But
No, I think it's easier if we don't do half points.
Okay,
Our weird final accounting.
yeah.
so you guys got 6 points because we're taking away the half point.
Yay! 50%.
It's better than everybody did on mine.
That's not bad.
I'm excited. We are now going to have a mystery quiz from Laura.
All right. So my quiz is called, you ready?
I'm ready.
Hippos! Yay!
Yay!
Yeah. So this is all about hippos. All right, let's just get right into it then. Mine is not deep the way that Gem's is. It is fun because hippos are awesome. That is why. All right, question number 1. Which is not a correct name for a group of hippos? A pod, a herd, a drove, or a bloat? We're going to start with Lauren.
A bloat.
Okay, Dave.
I'm going to go with a herd.
Okay, Ashlyn.
Pod.
Okay, and Gem.
I'm also going to go with pod.
I win! It was C, a drove.
Really?
Yep. Pod, herd, and bloat are very common terms for groups of hippos.
Bloated.
A bloat. It makes sense when you think of the shape of a hippo, you know, but now you know. All right. Okay, second question. Hippos, or river horses, as the Greeks called them, are most closely related to which mammals? A, rhinoceroses. B, cattle and oxen. C, horses, donkeys, and zebras. Or D, whales and dolphins. I'm going to start with Dave.
I'm going to go with whales and dolphins.
Okay, Ashlyn?
I wonder if you were just trying to throw us off with the horse thing.
Well, that's where they get their name.
Yeah, but like rhinoceros makes the most sense body shape wise. Manatees, I don't know. I'm gonna go with horses, even though I think it was a decoy.
Okay, Gem?
Thinking about like mouth shape. Yeah, whales and dolphins does not seem correct to me. Like looking at
But they're called a pod in a group.
Or a bloat,
Yeah.
though.
I mean, looking at historical cetacean ancestors,
Or not, or you could just guess.
but
Light quiz, Gem, light quiz.
God, I know I'm gonna stick with Ashlyn again. I'm gonna go with horses.
Horses, okay.
Yeah, even though river horses is
And
obviously
Lauren?
not the answer.
Cattle.
Okay, Dave is correct. Yep.
Wow, really?
It was thought
Okay.
that they were most closely related to pigs and peccaries, but it's now believed that they are most closely related to whales and dolphins.
If you had had pigs in there, I would have guessed
I was
pigs.
just kind of thinking the wolf's path.
Yeah. All right. Question 3. Hippo fun facts. Which one is false? A. Hippos have a top speed on land of 15 kilometers per hour. B. Hippos can hear above water through their ears and aquatic sounds through their jawbones. C. Hippos can store 2 days worth of food in their stomachs for later digestion. And D. Hippos are almost entirely hairless except for a small amount around the mouth and on their tails. Ashlyn.
I think the hairless thing is true. The underwater sound thing makes sense. What are the other two?
Hippos have a top speed on land of 15 kilometers per hour, and hippos can store 2 days worth of food in their stomachs for later digestion.
Okay, I think they're actually faster. I'm gonna go with A.
Okay.
I was going to say the exact same
So,
thing.
Jem?
Yep.
Okay. Lauren?
Also A.
Dave?
I don't like going with the crowd. That does be so wrong when I just don't. I'm going to say the food things. I'm sure they can store more food than that.
B is definitely true.
Okay, so Dave, unfortunately, you should have gone with the bloat around here. They are faster. It's actually about 30 kilometers per hour over short distances.
Terrifying.
Though they can charge, but they can't run
And that's
for
part of
miles
why
like
they're
that.
so deadly, right?
Part of that.
Also because their teeth are so big, and
Yeah.
every bite is probably going to be fatal.
And partly because they are 6,000 pounds.
And when that runs at you, it's very scary and deadly.
Exactly. Okay.
So we're all tied up.
Yes. Question 4. Hippos can hold their breath underwater for up to A, 3 minutes, B, 5 minutes, C, 10 minutes, or D, 15 minutes. Jem.
10 minutes.
Okay. Lauren.
15.
Dave.
15.
And Ashlyn.
10.
It's actually only 5. Yeah. Some sources will say a little bit longer, but the best consensus I could find was 5 minutes.
That's like barely more than a human.
Yeah, like if you had an hour on there, I would have gone something around there.
I was initially thinking 30, so.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, like, how long can a cetacean hold its breath?
A long time.
Yeah.
Like hours, yeah.
They don't really need to.
Yeah. You know, they're not in the
river
ocean. They're,
animals.
yeah.
Yeah, but whales not so much, right? Okay, question 5. What is not true about hippo teeth? A.
They are not made of deuterium.
Jem, you spoiled my question. No. A. They are made of ivory. B. The incisors grow continuously. C. The tusks or incisors are mainly used as weapons in self-defense. Or D, despite a mainly herbivorous diet, their molars do not resemble molars of other large herbivores. Back to Lauren.
A.
Okay, Dave.
The molars.
Okay, Ashlyn.
I'm wondering if maybe the tusks have some other function, so I'm going to go with that one.
Okay,
For like spearing vegetation.
and Jem.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Ashlyn again.
Okay, Dave gets it. Yeah, their molars are just molars. That's not true. But yeah, their tusks or incisors are made of ivory, just like elephant, mammoth, walrus, all of that. They do grow continuously. They are made of ivory. And they are mainly used in self-defense. That's their main weapon. Question 6. Hippos are considered semi-aquatic or amphibious animals, with only one of the following not regularly occurring in the water. A, eating. B, mating. C, birthing. And D, sleeping. So Dave. So which one does not regularly occur in the water?
Sleeping.
Okay, Ashlyn?
I don't know how typical this is, but there's a video on Facebook right now of that little baby Fiona being born, and it definitely occurred on land, so I'm going to say birthing.
Okay, Jem?
It's interesting.
But it was also like in a zoo enclosure, so how typical is that
Yeah.
of the species?
Seems like sleeping in water would be like a very bad idea, but you know, like they're wallowing in the shallows or whatever. I'm going to say mating, because that never turns out as good as anybody's expecting, right?
I feel like the weightlessness could help them, though.
And Lauren?
Jem stepped on my joke yet again.
Gotta happen at least once a show.
So mating.
Okay. And I win this one. Eating is the
Really?
only thing that they don't do in the water. They eat grasses around bodies of water and rivers and
They
that.
don't eat like kelp and stuff?
Nope. They eat dry grasses on land, and they typically eat at night. And so they spend all day in the water. Once it gets cooler and the sun goes down, then they leave the water and they'll go up to 10 kilometers or even farther to find
Nice midnight
enough
snack.
grass.
And that's when they do their ballet practice.
Apparently, yes.
Like I feel lied to by every cartoon that I've ever seen, because you always see them like lifting their head out of the water and they've got like kelp or whatever on either side dangling from their
But that could just be from the fact that they were in water and water moves and things like that. Mating occurs almost entirely in the water. And like you said, the buoyancy is part of what helps it there.
That makes sense.
Yep. And birthing can occur on land or in water, but it's very common for it to be in the water as well. And same thing for sleeping will occur as well. Hippos are highly adapted to an aquatic life. So which one of the following is not true about their adaptations? A, they are too dense to float and can walk fully submerged underwater. B, They do not sweat due to the amount of time spent in water. C, their webbed feet allow them to swim through the deeper parts of rivers and watering holes. Or D, they have an automatic reflex while sleeping to bob their heads out of the water. So which is not true? Okay, Ashlyn, go
They
ahead.
like almost definitely do not have webbed feet. I am pretty sure that that is not true. Don't they have like elephanty feet? Okay, I'm going with that one.
Okay, you're going with C?
Sure, if that was C.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to say that they probably have webbed feet. I mean, like, I would imagine them with elephanty feet, but, if they're evolutionarily close to Hippocetus, you're going to see some webbing. I think, what was the first one again?
They are too dense to float and can walk fully submerged underwater.
Too dense to float. I don't know, that seems implausible to me.
That's true, yeah.
You can be too dense to float, but still be, like, buoyant. You're still going to be a lot. I'm going to go with A.
Okay. Lauren?
Starting to be convinced by Ashlyn's reasoning.
I know that they sweat pink, so they do sweat.
They're like Klingons in that way.
Well, they wouldn't be able to walk 10 kilometers without sweating in Africa.
The web feet thing.
Okay. And Dave?
I'm going to go with A, the dense thing.
Okay. So Lauren and Ashlyn both got it correct, but kind of, well, at least Ashlyn for the wrong reason. They do have webbed feet, but they can't swim.
Really?
They cannot swim. Okay. Yeah. They can, in fact, walk fully submerged underwater.
So they do have webbed feet?
They do have webbed feet, but they cannot swim.
Oh!
That was part of the question.
Oh.
I said their webbed feet allow them to swim through the deeper parts of rivers and watering holes. They cannot swim. So their
I guess that one and the density one would then be contradictory.
Yeah. So they are too dense to float and they can walk fully submerged underwater. So if things do get deep, they kind of bounce off the bottom and kind of bounce along until they can get to a water until a level where they can just walk.
I've seen that on a video and it's awesome.
Yeah. Because hippos are great. They're so awesome. I love them so. Like, doing this quiz, it just made me love them more and more. Yeah, and they actually don't sweat. So you're correct. They do secrete like a reddish fluid, but it's not sweat. It is their best guess is it is a sunscreen. It blocks ultraviolet rays because their skins, they don't sweat because they spend so much time in water to help regulate their temperature. When they come out, their skin dries out so fast. So the sunscreen both protects it from the sun and like moistens it, but not in like a sweat way. It's like a hand lotion way.
That's wild.
Wouldn't that make that one the false one then?
No, because all I said is that they don't sweat due to the amount of time they spend in water. That's true. Lauren was saying about the red stuff, and the red stuff is not sweat. It is something different. I didn't talk about the red stuff.
So you said they don't sweat.
I was a wordsmith.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just, for some reason, that one passed me by because I would have actually chosen that one because I was positive that they did sweat. Okay.
But that one was still
Interesting.
Incorrect.
Yeah. I just would have got a different one wrong.
So now you know. There you go. Okay, question 8. Due to the action of humans, hippo territory is shrinking. Which item on the following list is not true of historical hippo ranges? A. Hippo species migrated into Europe and Britannica, with several distinct species throughout the Mediterranean region. B. Hippos were integral parts of freshwater ecosystems, with the massive amounts of dung serving as fertilizer and food for the aquatic species. C. Originally widespread through sub-Saharan Africa, hippos are now primarily located in the western parts of Africa. And D. The 3 species of hippos existed on Madagascar until approximately 1,000 years ago, near the arrival of humans. So, Jem, which one is not true?
I'm going to go with the Madagascar one. Madagascar is pretty big, though. Madagascar is pretty big. Probably support 3 distinct populations.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Okay. Lauren?
C.
Okay. Dave?
I think Mediterranean hippos is too far-fetched.
Too far-fetched, okay. And Ashlyn?
I'm actually really torn between the Mediterranean hippos and the Madagascar hippos. But, like, Africa's kind of right attached to the Mediterranean area. Mm-hmm. And Madagascar is an island that is, like, known for having really weird kinds of stuff.
It was separated a long time ago.
Right?
I don't know if they could bounce all the way across that.
I'm going to go with Madagascar.
Okay. Lauren takes it. Yep. Well, there are hippos in Western Africa, which we'll hear about. Mm-hmm. Most hippos are not in Western Africa. They are spread throughout the sub-Saharan, but largely in the eastern part of Africa. eastern and central parts
The
there.
least suspicious one
Yeah.
turns out to be true.
So there were many species of hippos throughout Europe and even on the British Isles, all throughout the Mediterranean, around the time of the end of the last ice age, because there was a lot of water around and hippos like rivers and slow moving water. And so they just migrated up there. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. I read that. I'm like, that is amazing. I wish there were still hippos. They don't think hippos themselves crossed over to the Americas, but potentially some of their ancestors did from fossils and that, which is pretty cool. And yeah, 3 distinct species of hippos on Madagascar until about 1,000 years ago.
One of them was a pygmy hippo, wasn't it?
So the pygmy hippo still exists. That's what I'm going to talk about next. So if you wanted to know, the type of hippo that you find in Western Africa is the pygmy hippo, which is a smaller hippo, and they're even better.
There's still no house hippo.
I was thinking of making a question about house hippos, but I couldn't come up with something. But nothing will ever be a
What
house
is their
hippo.
preferred food, Laura?
The favorite foods of the house hippo are chips, raisins, and the crumbs from peanut butter on toast.
Oh man, who didn't want a house hippo? Everyone did. Okay, back to my quiz. So speaking of pygmy hippos, the smaller species of hippo that exists today, which is not true of pygmy hippos? A, they were unknown to Europeans until 1840. B, unlike their larger cousins, they are mainly omnivorous. C, they are amphibious but spend more time on dry land than the other hippos. Or D, they are solitary and mainly silent creatures. Lauren, I think we're going to start with you.
We'll go with B.
Okay, Dave,
I'm going to go with C.
Ashlyn,
The omnivorous one.
and Jem.
I'm going to go with D.
Okay. So Ashlyn and Lauren, get it. Yeah, they are even more herbivorous than regular hippos are. We as Europeans didn't even know they existed until 1840. We still don't know a whole lot about them because they are nocturnal and silent.
Speaking for myself, I didn't know they existed until
Just now.
ago.
Okay, and last question. True or false? There is a small population of invasive hippos that live in Colombia. Dave.
True.
Invasive hippos that live in Colombia?
Yes.
Colombia, like South America, Colombia?
Correct.
It's like the right environment, sure. Somebody had a pet and let it go. Yeah, true.
Okay.
That was definitely a zoo. It's true.
Okay.
True.
You guys are correct. I just had to bring this in here. Do you want to know why there are invasive hippos in Colombia?
I'm pretty sure it's a zoo. Is it a zoo?
Well, close. So after Pablo Escobar died, he had a menagerie, and the government did seize all of the animals except the hippos because they were too big to deal with, so they just left them there. There were 4 of them, and they said, whatever. And they multiplied to about, they estimate between 40 and 60 animals roaming around Colombia
so
now.
It's not like hundreds of them that are
No,
destroying everything.
but they are also 40 to 60 several thousand-pound creatures that are just plowing through stuff there. And so they are invasive. They do pose a risk to humans. They're disrupting the ecosystem and stuff. So yes, there are invasive hippos in the world somewhere.
Pablo Escobar. How'd we do, Laura?
Okay. Lauren got 5, Dave had 3, Ashlyn got 4, and Jem got 2.
I beat Jem, yay!
Yay!
You
All right.
always beat me. I'm terrible at this game.
Well done, everybody.
All right, so I feel that you should all do excellent on this quiz because you all have definitely heard all of the material already.
Oh no!
Yes.
Went
No!
and did a quiz about all of my segments from the past year.
Ashlyn, I don't pay attention. This is not fair.
I feel somewhat prepared for this.
Dave has at least listened to all of our shows, so he's on even ground here. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, Laura's the only one who doesn't edit.
I forget a show as soon as I'm done with it.
Oh gosh,
It's like
yes.
cramming for an exam. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I'll be like, I should go learn about this thing. And then I look back, I did a podcast episode about this a while ago. Oops.
My segment was about that. All right, so most of them are multiple choice, but a couple of them I don't want you like stealing each other's answers, so they're just like, you'll write them down and then let me know. Okay, number 1. What is the approximate value of a human life to a cigarette manufacturer? So how much profit do they make per death caused by cigarettes? Is it A, $100,000, B, $25,000, C, $10,000, or D, $5,000? Start with Jim.
I believe it is C, $10,000.
25 does seem a little high. Okay, I'm going to go with C too. 10,000.
10,000.
10,000.
You are all correct.
Yay!
Each human life is worth 10 grand to a cigarette manufacturer. So everybody gets a point. The passage from the original podcast reads, "We can also think about this in terms of the value of a life as assumed by tobacco manufacturers. Cigarette companies make about a penny in profit for every cigarette sold, or about $10,000 for every million cigarettes purchased. Since there is one death for every million cigarettes sold or smoked, a tobacco manufacturer will make about $10,000 US for every death caused by their products." Number 2. Which of these countries participated in the Parade of Nations under its own flag in 2018? Was it A, Russia, B, North Korea, C, Vatican City, or D, none of the above? Laura.
None of the above.
Vatican City.
None of the above.
Feel like I would remember Vatican City having an Olympic team this past year, but I also feel like it should be Vatican City. But for the other ones, why wouldn't they? In North Korea, hell, let's say Vatican City.
So it was none of the above.
Yay!
Laura
Just like
and
the idea
Dave
of
got the point.
Some oiled up priests doing calisthenics or something.
Russian athletes participated as Olympic athletes from Russia because of the ban.
Yeah.
North Korean athletes processed in under the Korean unification flag. So both North Korea and South Korea processed in together. And they also had a joint ice hockey team.
Cool.
Pretty cool. And Vatican City is the only UN recognized country that does not participate in the Olympics at all.
Can't really see the Swiss Guard.
A lot of people who actually live there. Okay, so this is one where I would like you all to record your answer and then let me know. What does the Vita Stick claim it can measure? And for a bonus point, what does it actually measure? Start with Jim, whatever.
It claims to measure health and actually measures skin conductance, I'm sure.
Okay.
The number might be wrong, but it claims to measure your vitamin and mineral levels. I came up with 27 for some reason, but a lot of them. And the true answer is nothing, or the electrical conductance of your skin.
I wrote down that it claims to measure the healthfulness of food, and it measures nothing.
Okay.
I said the level of nutrients in the blood, and it measures blood type.
Okay. So it actually measures vitamins and minerals. I didn't even write down how many. I don't care.
I feel like it was an absurd
It
number.
was a lot, though. Yeah, I actually almost think it was like 30-something.
Could be.
It was a lot.
So it claims to measure vitamins
Claims
and
to
minerals.
measure
Yeah.
vitamins and minerals, and it actually measures skin conductivity. So that's 1 point for Jem, 2 points for Laura, and nothing for you guys?
I said nothing, so yeah.
Yeah. All right. During his life, which of the following did P.T. Barnum found? A child care facility, B, a hospital, C, a retirement home, or D, none of the above? Lauren.
A retirement home.
None of the above.
A hospital.
I'm also going to say hospital.
It was a hospital.
I was thinking he did a retirement home for, like, circus performers.
No, not as far as I could tell.
Where did I hear about that then?
I hope he didn't, because that would make my quiz wrong.
No, it wouldn't have been him. It would have been somebody else.
Ringling Brothers, maybe?
In our episode on the replication crisis, I talked about the backfire effect. When people with opposing belief systems are presented with evidence for one side of an argument, what does parallel updating mean? So what occurs when parallel updating happens? A, the evidence will convince the person whose beliefs it aligns with, but push the other person further from the truth. B, the evidence will convince the person whose beliefs it aligns with, but the other person will remain, like, static. Or C, that both people's opinions will become closer to the truth. Dave.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, do you want the whole question or just the answers?
Just the answers.
The evidence will convince the person whose beliefs it aligns with, but push the other person further from the truth.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
I'm also going to go with A.
Okay.
Yep, me too. A.
A.
Okay, everybody's wrong. So it's actually that both people's opinions will become closer to the truth. So we found that, unlike the backfire effect, which means that it will, like, basically boomerang and cause you to believe things that are more false, what actually happens most of the time when people are presented with evidence is that they will sort of inch their way closer to the actual truth the more evidence is given. Just called parallel updating. Yay.
That's not how parallel lines work, but okay, fine.
I was thinking for every
Yeah.
action, there's an equal and opposite
I did
reaction.
not name it.
Seems like those lines are moving toward an intersection.
Which of these sodas did not start as a patent medicine? A. 7-Up, B. Moxie, C. Mountain Dew, or D. Ginger Ale?
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew did start as a liquor. I don't remember anything about Moxie, so I'm going to go with Mountain Dew.
I'm going with Moxie.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew is correct.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew actually started as a mixer, not a liquor. They made it specifically to mix with liquor.
That sounds so gross.
What were they, 14? Like,
Sours, yeah. They were actually designed to go with whiskey.
The term Mountain Dew is a euphemism for home distilled.
For
liquor.
moonshine, yeah.
Yeah.
that
I
makes
stand by
sense.
it.
So that's a point for everybody but Dave. Number 7. Which of these was not a feature of the sensorama? Was it A, aroma, B, wind, C, vibration, or D, puffs of dust? Lauren?
Aroma.
Vibration.
Puffs of dust.
I do not remember this thing.
It was in my virtual reality
Yeah, it was
segment.
the early VR simulated a motorcycle ride.
There was actually 5 different films.
Oh, really?
Oh, right. Aroma.
Okay, puffs of dust is correct. Jem
Yeah.
gets the point. It did have aromas, which probably were not very good.
I remember specifically like something about it like smelling like grease or oil or something.
Yeah, I'm not even sure whether we were just guessing at that or
But I remember us talking about it. Okay.
Yeah, when you read them again, I'm like, oh no, I want to change my answer. But
Here's another one where we're going to write down our answers. What is the Wikipedia rule designed to avert edit wars? What is the rule called, or you can describe the rule? We got head shakes from Laura and Dave. Lauren, what do you think the answer is?
the rule of 3 edits.
Close. Jem, what did you put?
The 3 revert rule.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot make more than 3 reverts on a single page, whether or not it's the same revert in a 24-hour period. And if you make a 4th one just outside of that 24-hour period, you're probably also going to get blocked. So it's designed to avert edit wars, which are very funny.
You're going to give me
Lauren,
that point?
get a point?
Yeah, I think so. It's close.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trebek looks to the judges.
Number 9. Goal gradient theory explains some of why humans choose the strategies they do to pay off debt. So this is during my
Christmas debt. Yeah.
segment. What is goal gradient theory? A. People tend to work harder to achieve a goal as they get closer to reaching it. B. People tend to lose interest in their goals the longer they take. C. People tend to want to pay off their largest debts first. Or D. People tend to want to pay off the debt with the largest interest first. Dave.
The largest debt first.
Okay.
B.
Yeah, B.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm waffling between A and B, but I'm going to go with the crowd. B.
A is correct.
I was also waffling between
So,
A and B.
Goal gradient is the reason why humans tend to pay off their smallest debts first, because
Yeah.
they get excited to be able to actually finish something.
Yeah.
So the closer you are to completing a goal, the more likely you are to put more effort and time into finishing the thing. It's why like people get a burst of energy at the end of a race.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I was looking for that one, but I wasn't getting it in that wording. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, this sounds like the closest, the next closest thing.
I knew it was paying off the
smallest thing
smallest
first.
debt first, but
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
And the final question. What is a Gorse batch remedy prescribed for in animals? So from my just recent segment on flower remedies.
So not in humans.
Right. What is this prescribed for in animals? A. Sleeps too much or doesn't sleep enough. B. Lethargy or lack of enthusiasm to go anywhere, but gets interested in it when they get there. C. Easing periods of change. Or D. Extreme hopeless despair. Laura.
I feel like this is an unfair question because all of these are listed on the bottle.
They were all mentioned for various remedies. Which one is Gorse prescribed for?
God. I'm going to go with despair because despair in animals is funny.
Oh, man.
That way! It's late.
The new surroundings one. The new experience.
Easing periods of change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lethargy.
Okay.
What was the first one?
Sleeps too much or doesn't sleep enough.
I know that was for one of the pet ones.
Yeah. Well, let's go with that one.
It was extreme hopeless
Yeah.
despair.
You picked a funny one. Okay.
That was the funniest one. So, Jem, how did our contestants do?
Well, Laura won with 7 points.
Ooh.
I'm just behind with 6. Then Lauren with 3 and Dave with 2.
Woo! Dave doesn't listen to me.
Okay. So Lauren's quiz, we're going to convert these 6s to 5s because hers is not out of 10. But we need to take Dave's score and axe it by 20% because he got to answer every quiz. So
It's not going to make it much better.
We can't just take off his lowest score.
Lauren has 11 points, Ashlyn has 12 points, Jem has 13 points, Laura is our winner with 14 points, and Dave has 12 points, but actually 9.6.
Yay, Laura! You are the quizmaster this round. So what are we talking about next month, Jem?
We're going to be talking about rare diseases, which is the topic that Ashlyn picked for the following episode, but I'm just going to steal it.
Should be a good show. We'll see you then. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Life, the Universe, and Everything Else is produced by Jem Newman and Ashlyn Noble, with mix and tech production by Jem Newman. If you want to support the show, the best way to do that is with a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, or by sharing an episode with a friend. Original music is produced by Ian James, and this episode was edited by Lauren Bailey.
Life. Don't talk to me about life.
Original music is produced by Ian James, and this episode was edited by Ashlyn Noble. And this episode was edited by Jem Newman. And this episode was edited by Lauren Bailey. And this episode was edited by Laura Creek Newman, just in case.
Seems unlikely.
Hey, shut up.
Oh, you saw the face I made when he said my name.
You edited once or twice, right? Didn't you edit for a while, actually?
I used to do it regularly, but I hated it, and the show would not have continued if I had to do it regularly.
Is this
You can track your own if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Return of the Quiz Show show? Son of the Return of the Quiz Show show?
I was just going to call it Quiz Show 2019. What do you want me to call it?
The quiz showiest.
Quiz Showiest? What if we make a more showiest quiz show in the future?
It's the quiz showiest.
The quiz showiestest.
I feel like this is an unsustainable pattern.
Can't we just call it Night of the Living Quiz Show and be done with it?
So what are we talking about next month, Jem?
Oh, shit.
It's nighttime in a kitchen just like yours. All is quiet. Or is it? The North American house hippo is found throughout Canada and the eastern United States. House hippos are very timid creatures and are rarely seen, but they will defend their territory if provoked. They come out at night to search for food, water, and materials for their nests. The favorite foods of the house hippo are chips, raisins, and the crumbs from peanut butter on toast. They build their nests in bedroom closets, using lost mittens, dryer lint, and bits of string. The nests have to be very soft and warm. House hippos sleep about 16 hours a day.
Cool.